The Packers' defense was on lockdown. Mac Hollins and Devonta Smith went to town. Tua is Allen's daddy. Jay Willie is a baddie. And with a sickness, I came down. Welcome to the Mishpo. Yeah, so I am sick right now, which is maybe why I sound a little bit different. Um, I'm not sure if I sound different at all or not, but it started feeling a bit sick yesterday after work, and then slowly started getting more sick, and then I woke up feeling pretty bad. Took some medicine, powered through the workday. Luckily, I worked at home today, and wasn't too bad. So uh, just tired, throat hurts, stuffed up. It was more stuffed up earlier, um, but yeah, head hurts a little bit. But we're going through it. Doing the Mishpo week 4. What? Um, so uh, business a little bit. Oh, also, I'm not gonna drink a beer today. I just got my trusty water jug here. Um, because I'm sick and I don't really want to drink beer right now. I hope you guys all understand. So anyway, uh, I received a lot of payments last week. Um, after I mentioned I was still missing some payments from people, which was great. I believe I still need payments from 2 people. Um, yeah, 2 people. So just let me know if you think you have not paid, or if you have paid and maybe you don't know for sure. Um, obviously, I can just name the people on on this, but I'm not gonna do that right now. Maybe going forward I will, but for now we're good. And then so yeah, that's that. I didn't write any trades down. I don't believe there were any trades, but I will quickly. Oh yes, there was one trade in between this past week and this current week. Um, Lincoln traded Clyde Edwards-Helaire to Derek for Jerry Jeudy and J.K. Dobbins. Clyde started off the season pretty hot, and Jeudy did pretty well as well to start the season. But I think Clyde slowly losing work to Jerick McKinnon um, in that offense. So he's kind of stepping back a little bit as in terms of a prolific RB, whereas J.K. Dobbins could be on the up and up after coming off that injury last year, and then Jerry Jeudy, a pretty solid receiver. Not the best, not the worst, but definitely could do worse. And it's a 2-for-1 deal, so I do think Lincoln got the better end of that trade. But obviously, with all things fantasy related, anything could happen. Time will tell. So, going on to the matchup recaps, T-Corn versus myself. It came down to that Monday night game. Actually thought I had a chance to win, and it was looking great for about 3 quarters, and then Saquon Barkley and CeeDee Lamb both decided to get a touchdown. Um, it was Saquon's touchdown that put him ahead, but CeeDee just locked it in place. T-Corn got the win, 134.98 to 112.6, which will move us on to Colin versus Michael. This one was probably the biggest blowout of the week. And one of the teams, spoiler alert, Colin, had probably the lowest score on the week. So finally, I did not get that prize. Lackluster performances over on Colin's side. A couple of RBs, not super great. 12.1 from JT and 1.7 from Henderson. And then Allen Robinson, only 4.3 points. Hollywood Brown did well, got 28, but other than that, less than 10 points from the rest of his team. Each player, except for I guess Kyler, got 12.36, which you'd want better from Kyler. And then over on Michael's side, solid performance from Devin Singletary, 24.1. Devontae, 0-3 on the Raiders, only 14.2. But Cortland Sutton had a good performance, 17.7. Amon-Ra came back down to earth a bit, 13.3. But then Devonta Smith, as I mentioned in the limerick, just went off, 30.9. Michael got the victory here, 138.02 to 88.01, which will move us on to Lincoln versus Caleb. This matchup was also not that close, and I stand corrected because as of now, Caleb, spoiler alert, has the lowest points on the week. Russell Wilson, not that great, 9.06, 6.3 from Kamara, 8.7 from Connor. Jamar Chase also had a down week, as well as Mike. Pretty much everybody on your team had a down week, and you even got negative points from the Los Angeles Chargers defense. On the other side, very solid performance from Mark Andrews, 28.9. And, other than that, just consistently decent. Lincoln got the victory, 119.39 to 78.36. Which will move us on to Fiala versus Adam. Where are you two? There we are. This one, very, very close matchup, very high scoring matchup as well. And I did actually predict it would be closer than anticipated, but I predicted the wrong team to win. So close. Lamar Jackson got 40.42, I believe. I saw a thing where if you take away his rushing, he would still be like the quarterback 4 in a standard league. Pretty crazy stuff. Kyle Pitts finally did something, 13.7. And the Chiefs defense, not too bad, 11.75. Also, just side note, I'm liking the new defensive scoring this season. I don't know how you all feel about that, but I'm quite enjoying it. Makes it more fun, I think. San Francisco's defense, though, got 14.25, 17 from Greg the Dortch. So pretty good from him. 19.5 from A.J. Brown, 13.7 Josh Jacobs. And Joe Burrow got 23. In the end, Adam eked away with that victory, 127.95 to 126.17, which will move us on to State Farm versus Brian. I predicted that this would be an easy victory for State Farm. I was wrong. It was pretty much an easy victory the other way around. So yeah, Brian did get the win on the backs of solid performances from Derrick Henry, 25.3, Terry McLaurin, 16.2. Very good outing from Russell Gage, the de facto wide receiver, 23.7. Also with 23.7, Chris Olave. And the Denver defense, 16.5 points. There were some good performances, though, over on State Farm's side. James Robinson, 20.6, 16.4 from Tyler Conklin. Christian Kirk, 19.2, very good performance from him. And a not terrible performance from Patrick Mahomes, 18.08 from him. In the end, Brian got the win, 137.76 to 121.33, which will move us on to Derek versus Bruce. I thought Bruce would easily get the victory here, and while he did get the victory, it was quite close and also was very low scoring. Josh Allen did get 23.7, very solid performance from him. A couple fumbles there for him, 3 fumbles. Not like him to do that. And just some kind of underperforming performances. Tyreek Hill, 5.3. Rashad Bateman, 9.4. Jahan Dotson only got 3 points. The defenses were actually both very good in this matchup. Cleveland got 11, and the Philadelphia Eagles got 21 over there for Derek. Some other performances for Derek that were helpful in him getting the win. Or, sorry, no, Derek lost. That almost got him the win. 10.3 from Devin Duvernay. Jerry Jeudy did get only 3.7, and Jawan Johnson got 0 points, not too great. But bright side, Deontay Johnson, 16.4, pretty good. Steph Diggs had a letdown week, 14.4. And Montgomery got hurt, so that's very unfortunate. Probably would have won if it wasn't for that. His backup Khalil got off for 30-ish, so pretty good. Maybe even 40, but Montgomery only got 1.1. So in the end, Bruce got the victory, 96.6 to 96.6 to 1 or yeah, 96.6 to 91.2, which brings us to the final matchup, which is Abby versus Sam. And this one was also very high scoring and all not that close. Very good performances. 22.3 from Cordero Patterson. The star receivers over there for Abby did kind of have a down week. 16.4 for Cooper Kupp and 12.9 from Deebo Samuel. The two tight end route for Abby kind of worked out. Hawkinson got 10.8 and Ertz got 10.5, both solid performances for tight ends. And her defense, Dallas, got 14.25 over on Sam's side of the ball. Tyler Boyd had a very solid performance, 20.5 points from him, 17.9 from Travis Kelce, 18.1 from Adam Thielen, both very solid. And Zeke got 14.5, not too bad. Sam won 131.04 to Abby's 120.47. I'm going to take a quick sip of water, and then we'll fly through the power rankings before jumping in to this week's matchups. Yeah. I'm sure you guys can also tell that I'm a bit lower energy, and I'm not quite talking as much. Probably going to be a shorter episode, I hope. So we'll jump into the power rankings real quick. At number 14, we've got Sam. 13, Derek. 12, I have myself. Adam, I've got 11. Number 10, Caleb. Number 9, Fiala. 8, Lincoln. 7, Michael. 6, Colin. 5, Brian. 4, Abby. 3, State Farm. Bruce moves up to 2, and T-Corn holds on to that top spot, number 1. Oh, and I'll just give you guys a time check. It is 4:13, Wednesday, the 28th of September. Alrighty, we will jump into the first matchup, me versus Caleb. Both of us are 0-3, so one of us has to get the win here, right? Both of his running backs are probably on paper better than both of mine, but they both had pretty down weeks this past week, and they're currently dealing with injuries. That is Alvin Kamara and James Conner. So we'll see how those two can recover and play this week. And then we've got Jamar Chase, Mike Williams, very solid receivers. Another Charger receiver, Joshua Palmer, and then the Chargers defense also there on Caleb's team. And Tyler Higbee and Tyler Lockett are also on his team. Going up against me, we've got Jalen Hurts, who I believe is the number 3 quarterback currently, which is making me happy. And then A.J. Dillon and Dameon Pierce both A.J. Dillon had kind of a down week, but Dameon Pierce did pretty good. Hoping for some more usage from him this week. Brandon Cooks, though, and Gabe Davis, my two receivers, had a down week. Hoping for a bounce back from them. Gabe Davis in that shootout with Baltimore hopefully will get lots of touchdowns and lots of catches. David Njoku had a career game last week on my bench. But we got him in this week. We'll see how he can do. And then there's Cam Akers and Brandon Ayuk, both pretty solid. I believe they both had a touchdown as well. So we'll see if they can do that again. And then I'm rocking the Giants defense against that Chicago team. I will be picking myself and I'm hopeful, but not super confident, just because of how the season has gone for me so far. Which will move us on to Michael versus Lincoln. Old quarterback versus new quarterback. Tom Brady versus Trevor Lawrence. Should be interesting for those two to score off in fantasy football, not in real life. But Brady is facing the Chiefs, and they might be playing in Minnesota, depending on that hurricane. Hopefully, everyone is okay with that situation in terms of no one gets hurt or anything. Not like, oh, guys, I hope you're okay with there being a hurricane here. Obviously, they're not. So, over on Michael's side, we've got, as I mentioned, Brady, and then Gibson and Devin Singletary both performing pretty solid, and both have some nice matchups. We'll see how they can do. Devontae Adams, Sutton, your two receivers. Uh, Adams, we'll see if he can return to his form of yesteryear before he left us. And Sutton had a very solid week last week. Um, he's been performing quite well this season so far. And actually, Sutton and Devontae are playing against each other, so that should be fun. And that's a divisional matchup, so that'll be a good one, I'm sure. Hayden Hurst and Amon-Ra, and then Devonta Smith and the Chicago Bears defense rounding out the rest of your lineup. Michael, Amon-Ra had a down week, currently wide receiver 3 in PPR. So we'll see if he can bounce back against Seattle. And then Devonta Smith, we'll see if he can keep it going against Jacksonville, who's actually been playing not that poorly this year. It seems Urban Meyer was a bad coach. Chicago defense against the Giants, and then Hayden Hurst against Miami should be close games for both of them. And this game you want the lowest score is probably going to happen. Chicago versus the Giants. Hayden Hurst has been involved quite a bit, except for this past week. So we'll see if he can keep that going. Moving on to Lincoln's side of the ball. As I mentioned, Trevor Lawrence, not too bad. He's been really picking it up this year. He's currently wide receiver or quarterback 12, which is pretty solid. Or sorry, quarterback 10, pretty solid for him. Najee Harris and Chase Edmonds. We'll see if those two can pick it up after both of them had some relatively down weeks. They actually didn't do too terrible, but I just say things sometimes. Anyway, another Dolphin and Jalen Waddle, currently questionable, but I think he's expected to play, and he's on Thursday, so we'll have quite a few players playing on Thursday in this matchup, I think, which should be fun for you two to watch. Garrett Wilson and Mark Andrews also in decent matchups. Garrett Wilson, obviously the rookie. We'll see if he can keep it rolling. Has had a very good start to the season, and we'll see if he can, like I said, keep it rolling. Mark Andrews, obviously very good, going up against Buffalo in what could be a shootout, so we'll see if that happens. And then Judy and the Los Angeles Rams. We'll see if those guys can keep it going. Juju had the best game of this season so far last week, and Judy's been kind of downhill since week 1, so I'll see if he can pick it back up. And then the Rams get the 49ers defense on Monday Night Football. Could come down to that. So, I will be picking in this matchup Michael. I do think if Michael does win, it'll be a blowout. But if Lincoln wins, I think it'll be close. So that's how I think things will lie. Moving on to T-Corn versus Abby, a rematch of the championship last season. I'm sure Abby is eager to get a victory here. And we'll just run down these lineups real quick. Herbert for T-Corn, and then Javonte Williams and Saquon Barkley as two running backs, both very solid. Saquon especially. CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper at receiver. CeeDee had that nice long touchdown, finished his game pretty solid, and Amari Cooper has also been playing pretty well, currently the receiver 12 on the season. Dallas Goedert at tight end has been pretty good, the tight end 6 in PPR, which is pretty good to have that. And then your two flex, Michael Pittman and Alexander Madison. Pittman has been pretty solid. And if Dalvin Cook misses this game, then Madison is sure to have a solid outing. And then rounding out the team, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense against the New York Jets with first start of the season, Zach Wilson. We'll see how they can do against him. Over on Abby's side, we've got quarterback Derek Carr, who's been all right. Quarterback 14 or 12 on the season so far, so right at the cusp of QB1 territory. Aaron Jones and Cordero Patterson at RB. Aaron Jones had a down week this past week after going off the week before, whereas Cordero Patterson had himself the best week almost of the season by 0.3 points, but still RB 6 on the season. Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel both capable of monster games, but were kind of down last week relative to what you're used to. Speaking of that, we've got Zach Ertz, who also was kind of down last week. Currently the tight end at 3, very good for him. And then TJ Hawkinson has been slowly improving a little bit over the course of the season, and if Amon-Ra happens to miss, he will surely go up in the rankings a bit. And then Mark Ingram, if Alvin Kamara happens to miss, he will get some good usage, I'm sure, but we'll see if that happens. And then the Dallas defense against Washington. Washington has been pretty decent on offense, so we'll see if that Dallas defense can put up a solid fight. I did pick Abby in this matchup, but I do think it will be close. Moving us on to Derek versus Fiala. Oh yeah, I'm sure you like that. Fiala, we've got Lamar Jackson at quarterback. Was quarterback 1 on the season, number 1 overall player on the season. Has just been absolutely incredible. 40 points his last 2 weeks, and I don't imagine that will dip too much this week as he goes up against the Buffalo Bills, who's going to put up their own points. And then we've got Kareem Hunt and Travis Etienne, both decent matchups for them. And Keenan Allen, who's currently hurt, we'll see if he can come back. Missed last week. Last 2 weeks, actually, so we'll see if he can return against Houston. DK Metcalf and Alec Pierce and Noah Brown also starting at wide receiver for you. A couple of them are in your flex. Noah Brown has been decently good, actually quite good. So we'll see if he can keep that going this week against Washington. Alec Pierce has been not that great, honestly. Has only got 9.1 points on the season, which was this past week. So we'll see if he can improve against Tennessee. And then DK Metcalf, we'll see if he can do a bit better, as than the first 2 weeks. He did pretty good last week, and it goes up against Detroit. And then Kyle Pitts obviously had his best performance of the season so far by a wide margin, by about 10 points this past week. So we'll see if he can keep it going. And then the Chiefs defense. We'll see if Tampa Bay, who they are facing, can get some more pieces back and score a bit more than they did this past week. Which brings us to Derek's team. We've got Kirk Cousins at quarterback going up against the Saints. We'll see if he can give Jefferson the ball more and do better there. Then we got Clyde and Monty, running backs. Currently, Monty is questionable after missing most of the game last week. So we'll see if he can return to action. And then Stephon Diggs, who had a down week comparatively to him. Still the wide receiver 1 on the season. But we'll see if he can do well in what's to be a high-scoring matchup. And Deontay Johnson, of course, very consistent against the Jets this week. Juwan Johnson, I believe he put up a goose last week, so we'll see if he can catch a ball this week and do better. And then Romeo Doubs and Richie James, both new to offensive play in the NFL. Romeo, obviously, a rookie, and Richie in his 4th year, but I don't remember hearing about him too much in the past. So we'll see if he can uh, do some good performances on offense. And then the Philadelphia defense there for Derek rounding out this team. I will be picking Derek in a low-scoring, close matchup. Moving us on to State Farm versus Adam. I believe this is our last, or no, sorry, not. I was going to say last two Sackos, but we skipped a year there or two. Actually, our first Sacco versus our most recent Sacco. That's what that is. Oh, yes. Patrick Mahomes and Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette, all solid players. We'll see if they can perform well this week in their relative matchups. Mike Evans coming back off suspension. We'll see if he can put up a solid performance Sunday night versus Kansas City. Christian Kirk, very good on the season so far. Currently the wide receiver 6, so we'll see if he can keep that going. Tyler Conklin had a very solid past week. Got a new quarterback, though, throwing to him, so we'll see if he can keep things moving. Questionable Michael Thomas has been doing pretty good, not quite to the level that he was when he played last, but still solid. And then James Robinson, very, very good so far this season, currently the running back 3. So we'll see if he can keep that going. And the Packers defense, quite like them this week as well. Over on Adam's side, we've got Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon. The Bengal boys named Joe, mentioned that last week. Playing Thursday, we'll see how well they can do in against a matchup against Miami, who is pretty solid. Josh Jacobs and A.J. Brown, a couple other players over there on Adam's team. Yeah, we'll see how well those two can do. Curtis Samuel, Pat Freiermuth, Zay Jones, and Alan Lazard round around the position players, which concludes with the San Francisco defense on Monday night. This matchup, I think it will be not close, and I think State Farm will get the win. Moving us on to the penultimate matchup of the week, Bruce versus Sam. Josh Allen, despite losing last week, had a pretty solid performance as currently the QB2. And I believe he will have another performance of good quality this week. Nick Chubb, also very good, currently the running back 2 PPR. We'll see if he can keep it going against a not good Atlanta defense. Tony Pollard continues to be great. Tyreek Hill and Bateman had down weeks this last week, so we'll see if they can take it up a bit. And Dawson Knox, down week last week for him as well. We'll see if he can get some more targets from quarterback Josh Allen. Which brings us to our flex plays for Bruce. Drake London and Elijah Moore, both young players, but both very solid players. We'll see if they can play well. And the Cleveland Browns defense going up against Atlanta. So we'll see how that turns out for them. Bringing us over to Sam's team, we've got Tua Tagovailoa, currently questionable, playing Thursday night. We'll see if he can get out there with his back-ish injury. And we got Ezekiel Elliott and Austin Eckler, both solid running backs, but they are not playing as well as you probably would have hoped. T. Higgins and Thielen. Thielen had a great week this past week, whereas T. Higgins, not so much. Still pretty solid, but probably want more from him. Travis Kelce, though, did do great. And $50 fab man, Mac Hollins, slotting in your flex there. Nearly 30 points from him. We'll see if he can keep that going this next week. And Tyler Boyd had also a very good week. 20 points from him. And the Saints defense going up against Minnesota. I think Bruce will win, and I also don't think this one will be that close. Which will bring us to the final matchup of the week. Colin versus Brian. Kyler Murray. Decent performances on the season so far. Last week was his worst, but he's still a very good quarterback. We'll see how well he can do. Jonathan Taylor, obviously great running back, but has been not that great for the last couple weeks. So we'll see if he can bounce back against Tennessee. And Rashad Penny going up against Detroit. Alden Robinson and Hollywood Brown. We'll see if those two can keep it going. Allen Robinson, not great this past week, but Hollywood Brown did do quite well, so we'll see, how that goes for him. George Kittle, first week back last week, and wasn't all that great. Only 6.8, so we'll see how well he can do against his division foe, which brings us to our flex, DJ Chark and Michael Carter. Chark has been all right for a Lions wide receiver. We'll see if he can do a bit better this week. And then Michael Carter has been decent for a Jets running back. Has been slowly getting worse as the weeks have gone by, but there's always the chance that he does better. And then the Tampa Bay defense going up against the high firing Chiefs. We'll see how well that works out for you, Colin. Which brings us to Brian's team, Aaron Rodgers. Very good quarterback. For fantasy, though, not super great. So we'll see how well he can do. And then we got Derrick Henry and Raheem Mostert. Mostert, not great last week, but Derrick Henry did have a very good week last week. So we'll see if those two can play at Derrick Henry level. Justin Jefferson, though, not very good last week. I heard it was his worst performance his entire career, including when he was a rookie. So we'll see if he can improve this week. And Terry McLaurin has been pretty solid, pretty consistent. We'll see if he can keep that going against division rival Dallas. Tight end, we've got Darren Waller, who's been very good as a tight end. Last week, not super great, but we'll see if he can take up a bit this week. And then the flex, we've got Russell Gage, very good this past week. We'll see if he can keep it going against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Chris Olave, rookie, very good, has slowly getting better each week, and maybe will be the wide receiver one for New Orleans by the season end. Which brings us to the defense over there for Brian. We've got the Denver Broncos, currently the defense number 5 on the season, going up against the Raiders, currently 0-3. So it should be a decent matchup for them. I will be picking Brian, and I do think it will be a close matchup. So yeah, that will conclude this week's episode of the Mishpo. Shorter than it has been in the past couple weeks, but still on the longer side, I would say. But that's just how it goes sometimes. Obviously, since I didn't have a beer, I did not, or will not be flipping a can. But that's just how it goes sometimes. So that will conclude this week's episode. So yeah, thank you, and thank you.